5 years ago, I was earning minimum wage, long shifts, low pay, and barely enough to cover rent and bills. Today in my 20s, I make over 190,000 a year, and no, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm telling you because in the next couple of minutes, I'll share exactly how I did it and how you can use the same steps to change your income. Stick around, because the last tip that I share is the one that made the biggest difference. The first thing I learned was your income is tied to your skills, not just your hours. Minimum wage pays for your time. High income pays for the problems you can solve. I started building skills that companies and clients actually value, things like plumbing. And here's the key. I didn't wait to be perfect. I learnt a bit, then applied it, then I learned more. My first big win wasn't 190,000. It was doubling my income from where I was. That single jump showed me this was possible. And from there, I treated skill building like going to the gym. Every day I was either learning, practicing, or applying. The compound effect kicked in. Just like money compounds, so does knowledge. I started off as an apprentice plumber, working for a big company, earning a small £3.30 an hour, doing a 60-hour week. I was 18, earning such a low wage, while all of my friends was on a minimum of £10 plus an hour. They were buying themselves brand new cars, buying themselves nice new clothes, while I was roughly making £180 to £200 a week, spending all my life at work. Even though this was the case, I was building a skill that little did I know would change my future forever. I was literally playing with people's shit and barely getting any rewards from it. I think for the first 2 years I struggled to make more than £200 a week, but things all started to change when I decided to set up my own business. A lot of people are scared to take the risk or take the leap. Don't get me wrong, for the first 2 or 3 months it was really difficult because I had no clients, but I had to spend a colossal amount of money on setting up the business. I had to buy a van, had to buy the tools, had to buy insurances and company work clothes and everything else that came with it. But once the money started coming in, I realised working for a company, you're only building someone else's dream and lining their pockets. To begin with, I was probably making around £2,000 to £3,000 a month, but that's without taking off any taxes and insurances. So to begin with, I was putting in a lot more work and effort, especially if you take into account all the paperwork I had to do and booking in the jobs and actually doing the work that actually earned me the money. But once it started kicking off, I managed to do 30 to 50 jobs a week. Things started to change. I had weeks where I was managing to make 5,000 in a week. Things started to change. I then thought to myself, how can I progress this? Leaving this in the bank isn't doing anything for me. I then started looking into options I could invest in. I looked into the US 500, which is the top 500 businesses in the US, and you compare it to inflation, it wasn't really winning. I looked at buying a house and renting it out, and I looked at all the costs and decided it was no good. I then found Bitcoin, and little did I know this was going to skyrocket my net worth through the roof. Started off investing small amounts of 100 here or there. Once I started seeing the growth, I then started putting thousands in. Over the past few years, I've been making 80 to 100% returns yearly. Money invested into Bitcoin. So I decided to start using my business as a means to put cash flow into Bitcoin. So how did I get to 190,000? There's two big things. One, I was in a high-paying industry doing plumbing and heating, installing boilers, carrying out gas checks, and earning around 100,000 a year. Two, I was leveraging that money into an asset growing faster than inflation, the asset being Bitcoin. Because of this, I was able to turn 100,000 a year into upwards of 190,000 a year, and by doing less. The biggest takeaway is not about just being born into money or getting lucky. It's about refusing to stay stuck and building the right mindset of I'm going to do well. So if you're watching this and thinking that this could never be you, I promise it's possible. If you want more strategies like this, make sure to subscribe and join this community. Drop a comment with the skill you're working on right now and I'll reply back with a resource to help you. I went from less than minimum wage to over 190k in my 20s. If I can do it, you can do it too.